So lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. Today, Saturday, the 18th of September 2021. To present the news, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company employees to down tools. Stakeholders demand accountability for the over 74 million found at a private residence in Lusaka. President HICHILEMA to deliver his maiden address to the UN General Assembly on the 21st of September. In international news, Algeria's ABDELAZIZ BOUTEFLIKA dead at 84. And sports, the Chess Federation of Zambia signs an MOU with Russian Center for Science and Culture.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via World Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Another news in detail. Unionized employees of the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited have threatened to down tools due to numerous issues that have remained unresolved for some years now. Zambia Water and Sanitation Engineering and Allied Workers Union ZASWAU Chairperson Moses Mwale says the main grievance from the workers is their demand for consolidated salaries, which they claim only management employees currently enjoy. Mr. Mwale says management has over the years consistently refused to consolidate salaries, forcing workers to feel their labor only goes to support management employees. The union leader adds that workers have also been subjected to working without the right personal protective equipment and have called on the new Ministry of Water and Development Sanitation, Mike Mposha, to intervene. Details in the following report.
Unionized workers at the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited have threatened that they will down their tools if their demands are not met. The workers who opted to speak through their union, the Zambia Water and Sanitation Engineering and Allied Workers Union, claim they have for many years now been demanding that their salaries be consolidated, but that only those in management positions have been enjoying from it. Union Chairperson Moses Mwale says although management has repeatedly claimed that the company was financially stressed, the workers noted that just before the last negotiating process in 2019, the company bought a new flat high-range vehicle for senior management using internally generated funds. They now want the new Minister of Water Development and Sanitation to address their demands.
Management has got a consolidated salary, which we have brought on the table that the union should also take part to have their salaries or allowances consolidated to their basic salary. But the problem is that management has been giving stories, and for the past 4 years, this issue has not been addressed. We know that the labor law has changed, and now the management wants to introduce the housing allowance as a standalone, yet in their consolidated salary there is already housing allowance, and this is the fear of our members. Despite the members being described as essential workers, they have seen that this issue is now being used against the workers because the law does not allow them to go on strike. But as a union, we are losing grip of them, and the workers at the moment may not even care because management has given a deaf ear to these urgent issues.
Another issue that has aggrieved the workers is the fact that personal protective equipment which they have been working with is worn out, putting their lives at risk.
Another urgent issue is the issue of PPE, protective clothing or protective equipment. Our members are using worn out work suits and safety boots, and yet they are covering long distances reading meters. This has been already affected the service, and at the moment as a union we are losing grip, and we want to appeal to the minister to come to LUSAKA Water and Sewerage and give audience to the union and the workers.
We've tried even to reach out to the newly appointed minister, Honorable Mike Mbosha, by correspondence and a call which we made, but till now they haven't called us or accorded us an audience to be held.
As part of expressing their displeasure and in solidarity with the workers, the union has turned down the company's invitation to attend Labor Day celebrations that have been arranged for the workers next week, as they claim it appears to be a window dressing exercise meant to windwalk the new government that there is industrial harmony. And efforts to get a comment from management at the company, however, proved futile by broadcast time. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some stakeholders have demanded that a thorough investigation be launched on how over 66 million kwacha ended up at a private property in Lusaka's New Kasama. This reaction comes after the revelation by the Zambia police that over 66 million kwacha and 57,350 United States dollars were recovered at a home of a woman identified as Faith Musonda. GEAR's Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says the revelation calls for government to quickly constitute the Operation Recovery Task Force in order to recover resources that have been stolen. And Alliance for Accountability Action says it is worrisome that the Financial Intelligence Center has continued to indicate that the country has continued to lose resources due to corruption and money laundering activities. We have details in the following report.
The revelation by the Zambian police in Lusaka that they have recovered 65,330,000 kwacha and another 57,350 United States dollars at a private home belonging to a woman identified as Faith Musonda has left many Zambians shocked and with banging questions that urgently demand for answers.
Police in Lusaka yesterday had an operation in which they recovered 65,330,000 kwacha suspected to have been stolen or unlawfully obtained. During the search, police discovered 30 traveling bags containing Zambian kwacha notes.
GEAR's Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says it is disappointing to note that such huge sums of money can be stored at a private residence when the Bank of Zambia has been announcing that the country has run out of notes.
We cannot allow a situation where money is in private hands and the country is claiming to have no money and having empty coffers. So can the new Dawn government quickly move in, launch the Operation Recovery as proposed in their manifesto on page 16, so that we can quickly recover the money?
Because remember, if we're looking at 65 million and we are saying that 65 million was gotten from public money, it means that 65 million, if you look at the 2021 budget, that those are resources that could have gone directly to supporting, for example, if you look at the Ministry of Gender, which had a head total of 54 million. You look at money that was allocated to bursaries, that money could have been used to support various citizens under various programs.
And United Party for National Development Alliance Media Director Tabo Kawana says the amount involved is too huge to be in the hands of a single individual, which is a clear indication that the system in the country was broken and needs to be fixed.
The question, how much more is out there? How much more is with the people out there? And how did this kind of money get found in people's possession, individuals' possession? These are the kind of amounts that you find laden in an institution like a bank or a financial institution.
While acquiring huge sums of money through hard work is possible, the Financial Intelligence Center report of 2020 also indicated that money laundering activities increased to 3.1 billion kwacha, a clear indication that some individuals have been getting rich at the expense of many poor Zambians. This calls for the relevant investigative wings to thoroughly investigate all allegations of money laundering activities in order to allow the country get back to a growth trajectory. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
United Party for National Development, UPND Alliance Media Director Thabo Kabwana has cautioned all party members for engaging in violent activities, adding that the law will catch up with all perpetrators. Addressing the media Saturday, Mr. Kabwana noted the video clip that is making rounds on social media where alleged UPND cadres are seen whipping someone and urged the police to bring the culprits to book. Meanwhile, Mr. Kabwana has rubbished claims by the opposition Patriotic Front senior members that the UPND party is a one-man show whose word cannot be questioned, hence the delay in the changes being made at government level. Here's the details.
Like any other head of state, the UPND Alliance President Hakainde Hichilema has received backlash with the way he's running the affairs of the country thus far, especially from the opposition Patriotic Front. Others have described the checks and balances being provided as premature, calling on the critics to allow the UPND to settle. Alliance Media Director Thabo Kabwana has defended the head of state, adding that the processes are being done systematically and not according to the whims of the people.
Government has a system of how to do things, and you've seen how the president has been moving very steady, very focused, and moving systematically. So he had his time, got inaugurated, took his time to scrutinize men and women to put in office as ministers. They've been put in office. And now, step number 3, he has recalled some diplomats, he has disappointed some permanent secretaries, he has disappointed some government officials. The next stage is now to appoint some permanent secretaries, appoint some ambassadors, appoint. You move systematically. It cannot be the way the PF were doing wholesome, chipanti kind of things. So we understand. I listened to a vice president for the PF given the other night, and he was saying that they were shocked with the election results. And he added that the PF were shocked, that the people of Zambia were shocked, that UPND were shocked, and even called President, because he refers to President Hakainde as, he refers to him as President Bali, because it's very difficult for him to say President Hakainde, because he's one of the people that must have been thinking Hakainde will never be president. So to say President Hakainde, so it's difficult for him to do that. So he says President Bali, was shocked. So we want to tell him, given that the Zambian people are not shocked. They voted you out. They can't be shocked. The UPND is not shocked. Do you think we are campaigning to lose elections?
And Mr. Kabwana has expressed utmost displeasure over the statement issued by the PF member of the Central Committee, Raphael Nakachinda, that the people of Eastern Province are not being fully represented in the UPND government.
The exact kind of politics that the Zambian people rejected, based on tribalism and regionalism. The people of Eastern Province do not believe that they have 2 seats in cabinet. The people of Eastern Province believe that they have seats in cabinet and they are part and parcel of cabinet, because it is one Zambia, one nation. And President Hakainde has made it very clear, you will qualify to be cabinet minister, to be anybody in government based on score number 1. You must be a Zambian. Number 2, it don't matter your surname, your mother, where you come from. Number 3, you should be qualified to do the work. That's all. And that's why today we have what we have. And those kind of politics are the politics that got PF rejected. And if Nakachinda continues on this trajectory, they're doing nothing but barring the PF.
Meanwhile, the media director has also spoken against the violence being seen by alleged UPND members on social media blogs.
Put it on record that will not be condoned. It is not condoned, it is condemned. In the strongest terms possible, the President of the Republic of Zambia has said there is no cadreism. The LUSAKA Province Youth Chairman of the UPND equally condemned it. And just yesterday, the police also issued a statement and called on members of the public that may be able to identify the people that are in that video to report them to police so that they are brought to book. That will never be condemned. Those are the mannerisms that used to happen at a place called Kamgodi, where PF cadres used to take people and detain them illegally there and torture them there. It will not happen under this administration. And therefore, we encourage the police to continue on the trajectory of ensuring that law and order is maintained in this country.
But the police spokesperson Esther Katongo has called on members of the public to help the police, being the perpetrators, to book.
We appeal to the general public who could have identified any of those thugs in the video to report to the police without delay. We further call on the victim in the same video to report the matter to the police for justice to prevail. As Zambia Police, we shall not tolerate anyone that would want to deliberately commit crime with impunity, not even under the guise of politics.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The New Heritage Party has charged that Zambia experienced heightened levels of poverty, unemployment and lack of easy access to quality education during the previous government, hence the need for the recently elected United Party for National Development UPND government to ensure that there is a change to this narrative. Speaking to Camnet News, party president Ms. HICHILEMA states that if the United Party for National Development UPND government is to be effective in improving the livelihoods of citizens as enshrined in their manifesto, they first should investigate the reasons behind what was causing the challenges in the past government. We have more in this report.
Development indicators show that Zambia's poverty levels have worsened over the past 5 years, which has seen the nation being ranked among the countries with the highest levels of poverty and inequality globally. The United Nations Development Programme UNDP and the World Bank show that about 54% of Zambians live below the international poverty line of $1 a day. The country's economic growth has also seemingly stalled over the recent years, showing a gross domestic product GDP growth of less than 10%. The New Heritage Party says the United Party for National Development UPND should conduct investigations to ascertain the reasons behind this regression over the years. Party President Ms. HICHILEMA further states that it is the mandate of the UPND government to ensure that they give citizens cheaper food prices and job creation, as Zambians voted for them in numbers so as to see these challenges resolved.
Our expectations, like all other Zambians, are the basic day-to-day lives of Zambians to be improved. So if the new government can attend to whatever has been causing the high prices of things to go up, if those could come down, I think that's what Zambians are looking for. Zambians are looking for job creation because they want to start working, lives to be made easier. You know, businesses find a lot of challenges, so if the playing field could be leveled for small businesses especially, I think that is what the average Zambian and ourselves are expecting.
The New Heritage Party president has also called on government to practice transparent governance, adding that stakeholders should be consulted before major decisions are made.
We are of the view that when government, when the party in power begins to make changes, it's their right to make those changes. However, we think that it's important for them to explain what the changes are and why those changes are being made so that the public can have buy-in.
Stakeholders and Zambians have high expectations of the new government as they promise to transform the country in their manifesto. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Patriotic Front Lopula Province Permanent Secretary Major Ben Perry has called on government to prioritize the construction of solar-powered industries in rural parts of the country as one way of trying to upstart the economy. In an interview with Camnet News, Major Perry states that during the past government, resources were channeled towards projects such as roads instead of factories which are able to generate income. He explains that there is need to urgently put up solar-powered industries in places such as Nyimba and Mwinilunga, which are rich in fruits such as pineapples and bananas, as these areas have potential, but many of them still lack access to electricity.
We have a lot of mangoes, a lot of bananas, but these go to waste annually. The thing that you see from November, December, an endless stream of canters, trucks and what, bringing mangoes to Lusaka. Now, where is the problem? Where is the conundrum? Why can't we set up a factory of processing juices in Nyimba? The problem that they'll tell you, firstly, the road infrastructure is poor, extremely bad, dilapidated to the core. If we work on the roads, we also avail electricity to those areas. If you look at this river basin of Zambezi, let's take it from Sesheke up to Luangwa, the confluence of Luangwa River and Zambezi. The temperatures there are extremely astronomical. They're astronomically high. They're very, very high. If we set up solar plants in these areas, Sesheke, Snazongwe, Snazeze, Siabonga, up to Feira there, big solar plants, we're going to use those to generate sufficient power to illuminate our homes and run small industries. And then the power that we generate using the hydroelectric facility at Kafrio Gorge, at Teshiteji, and Kariba North, we use it now to create factories. Because factories are the main precursor for international development from a country's perspective. So if we get a factory in Nyimba to start processing mangoes into juice, into jam, and those covers for mangoes and the seeds, we crush them, mix them with concentrates, it becomes stock feed. We also support the poultry, let me say just the livestock industry. That's how you develop a country.
Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo has directed all councils countrywide to put in place measures to ensure drains are unblocked and improve on waste management in the wake of the coming rainy season. Mr. Nkombo says the directive is aimed at upholding the standards according to the provisions of the law. The minister was speaking when he officiated at the World Cleanup Day in Lusaka Saturday. The minister says he needs monthly activities to be reported to the ministry on a regular basis. We have more in the following report.
Zambia, on Saturday 18th September 2021, joined the global community in marking World Cleanup Day under the theme, We Are Smart. Various stakeholders joined forces to undertake cleaning activities in Lusaka. The event was held at the Olympic Youth Development Center and the cleaning exercise took place at Hero Stadium. Alfred Foloko is the National Olympic Committee of Zambia NOCZ president.
The National Olympic Committee of Zambia has observed in the district how waste, garbage and plastic pollution in general continues to be a serious national and global crisis which calls on us to take holistic collaborative efforts in finding global solutions to this environmental hazard.
Citizens, Environmental and Social Concern SESCO Executive Director Konwo Hagapia has called for improved funding and law reforms in view of conserving the environment.
We call upon our government to increase the budgetary allocation to the environment in the 2022 national budget. Please, not my 0.1. And we must emphasize, please, not my 0.1 jackpot. And we also appeal to our government to repeal the Extended Producer Responsibility SI number 65 of 2018 and institute a new statutory instrument which will compel manufacturing companies to have a real and workable mechanism of returning and taking out of our environment the non-biodegradable plastic packaging and be responsible for their products' life cycle.
Local government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo also used the occasion to direct councils countrywide to put in place measures to ensure that drainages are unblocked and improve waste management in the wake of the coming rainy season.
Ones that produce plastics, those that have industrial effluent, to make sure that this is managed in the best possible way in order to keep our environment clean. Now let me take this opportunity to direct our councils countrywide that the rainy season is a few weeks away and therefore put measures to ensure drains are unblocked, and we will start from the greater city of Lusaka. I'm giving this directive to all councils using this platform to keep the standards according to the provisions of the law. In this regard, I need monthly activities reported to the ministry on a regular basis. Let us keep our communities clean, green, eventually it's going to be healthy.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema is tomorrow, Sunday, the 19th of September 2021, expected to travel to the United States of America, where he is expected to attend the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Stanley Kakubo says the president will be accompanied by Minister of Finance and National Planning Situmbeko Msokotwane. Mr. Kakubo says President HICHILEMA will deliver his maiden address to the UN General Assembly on the 21st of September 2021 as a high point in the visit. The head of state is then expected to participate in high-level summits, among them the 2021 SDG Moment, the High-Level Dialogue on Energy, the UN Food Systems Summit, and the Global COVID-19 Summit. And President HICHILEMA will also pay a courtesy call on Antonio Guterres of the United Nations, the Secretary General, and hold several bilateral meetings with other world leaders, including the President of the European Council, Charles Michel. The head of state is also scheduled to travel to Washington, D.C., where he will hold a historical meeting with Vice President of the United States of America, Ms. Kamala Harris. Among other things, the president will also hold meetings with the heads of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and will further engage with prominent and influential congressmen and women, as well as senators at Capitol Hill, in order to share Zambia's vision under the New Dawn administration. You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle.
Skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we're saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You're watching Camnet TV main news. Zambia National Education Coalition ZANEC Executive Director George Hamusunga has called for increased funding for science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM subjects in the country in order to see more viable projects being supported. Speaking to Camnet TV, Mr. Hamusunga explains that among the challenges affecting the STEM sector in Zambia is limited funding, lack of modern laboratories in many schools, and the shortage of specialized teachers. We have more in this report.
Highly developed countries like China have invested heavily in science and technology, making them one of the major world exporters of gadgets such as phones, computers, and other technological innovations. Science and technology also act as a tool for the rapid development of any nation as they enable countries to find solutions within their borders. The Zambia National Education Coalition ZANEC, while welcoming the introduction of the Technology and Science Ministry in Zambia, says scientific subjects at secondary school levels are inadequately funded. Speaking to Camnet News, ZANEC Executive Director Mr. George Hamusunga states that science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM subjects in the country need to be adequately funded in order to see more viable projects being supported into meaningful national innovations.
These innovations, invest in them so that we can develop a lot of technologies. For instance, now we have COVID-19 and we've been talking about ventilators. We know that our children are able to innovate ventilators that are cheap. But the problem is that these innovations by the children have not been funded for them to be developed into projects that can benefit the country.
The ZANEC Executive Director adds that the STEM sector also has limited specialized teachers and lacks modern laboratories, challenges that need to be addressed.
We hope that the ministry is going to go beyond supporting the development of science or the learning of science, technology, engineering and mathematics by ensuring that they support concrete projects such as jets in schools. We have seen over time that our children in schools are geniuses. They are able to innovate. They are able to come up with innovations that can be used in industry, in order to improve, for instance, the productivity of manufacturing companies, to improve, safe delivery in the transport sector and other sectors.
Mr. Hamusunga states that if Zambia is to be a provider of quality education by 2030, there is need to transform the education sector. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Alliance for Accountability Advocates Zambia has expressed disappointment at the low appointment of the women and the youth in key decision-making positions by the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking to Camnet News, Organization Media and Publicity Officer Chisa Chola says President Hichilema had in his speech delivered during the official opening of the first session of the 13th National Assembly promised that he was going to prioritize the appointing of women and the youth in key decision-making positions. Mr. Chola says the country has enough competent and qualified women and youths who can deliver to the satisfaction of the Zambian people. He has since appealed to President Hichilema to live up to his promise of ensuring equal participation of women and the youth in decision-making.
To express our concern with regards to the low appointments of women with the decision-making spaces that so far the President has mentioned. It is quite unfortunate after promising the many Zambians, after mentioning it in his opening speech at the 13th session of the National Assembly, that he's going to prioritize the youth and the women with regards to decision-making spaces, but we still notice a low turnout of women and the youth in decision-making spaces. So would love to express our concern and appeal to the seventh president of the National Republic of Zambia that he needs to prioritize the women and the youth. We know that we have quite a lot of competent women and youth who can be in these particular decision-making spaces, and we want him to prioritize that. They should be equal or even more than, especially from the youth, representation of people in decision-making spaces, because it's been unbalanced for far too long. We do appreciate, yes, the first speaker, the speaker rather of the National Assembly is a woman, and also the first speaker, but we want to see other spaces, the agencies, the institutions that actually govern and that actually look at the well-being of the people, to prioritize women and the youth.
Lilai Police College Commandant Charles Mbita has appealed to the newly appointed Police Inspector General Lemi Kajoba to consider establishing a police museum at the police college where the Zambia Police from its inception to the present can be documented. Mr. Mbita says this is in order for the public to appreciate the history and function of the Zambian police from the colonial era when it was a police post to the present when it is a police service. The college commandant has also appealed to the former Police Inspector General Kakoma Kanganja to consider writing books on effective criminal investigations, criminology, cybercrime and police management based on his past experience in the Zambia Police, which he says will benefit the entire police service. Mr. Mbita said this during a retreat parade in honor of the former Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja held at the college Friday.
Sir, may I take this opportunity to encourage you and indeed other past Inspector Generals of Police and indeed retired senior officers to consider writing books on effective criminal investigations, cybercrime, criminology, police management at various levels, etc., based on your rich experiences in the Zambia Police Service, which ultimately will benefit the entire organizations and institutions of higher learning. May I also appeal to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Lemika Joba, to consider establishing a police museum here at the Police College, where evolution of the Zambia Police Service from its inception to the present and indeed historic moments such as retreat parades can be documented for members of the public to appreciate the history and functions of the Zambia Police Service from the colonial era when it was a police force to the present when now it is a police service.
Zambia has continued to record steady progress in the fight against COVID-19, with at least 69 positive cases recorded in the last 24 hours out of the 5,353 tests conducted, indicating a positivity of 1%. The breakdown of the new cases and within province positivity has put Northwestern Province top of the list with 23 cases, indicating 9.2% of the positive cases, and Southern Province as the least affected with 1 case recorded. 1 new COVID-19 related death was also recorded in the last 24 hours from the Copper Belt. In a daily brief, Health Minister Sylvia Masebo has also cautioned members of the public to guard their mental health in this COVID-19 era. She says the pandemic has negatively affected many people's mental health and created more barriers for people already suffering from mental illness and substance use disorders. Ms. Masebo says the impact is being seen across all ages and in both men and women, with essential workers, especially frontline health workers, experiencing additional challenges, hence the need for members of the public to report any suspicion of mental health issues to the health authorities. This is Camnet TV News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. We now look at international and sports news. In international news, Algeria's longest-serving president, ABDELAZIZ BOUTEFLIKA, has died at the age of 84. He struggled with health issues for years after suffering a stroke. BOUTEFLIKA stepped down in 2019 after mass protests rejecting his plan to seek a fifth term. He had been in power for more than 2 decades. In other news, Guinean civil society have invited ECOWAS to reconsider its demands regarding the September 5 coup. As current chairman of regional bloc ECOWAS states, Akufo-Addo heads a delegation to mediate the political crisis following the coup. Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo arrived at Conakry Airport and was received by Guinea coup leader Lieutenant Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya on Friday. The bloc had imposed sanctions on Guinea's coup leaders and called for elections in 6 months in a demand for a quick return to civilian rule, a request deemed inappropriate by some activists. Here's a roundup of international stories.
April the 2nd, 2019. Algerian President ABDELAZIZ BOUTEFLIKA resigned following weeks of massive street protests. Frail, unable to walk or talk, and rarely seen in public following a stroke he suffered in 2013, Bouteflika bowed to pressure from protesters and the army chief. This is the moment he resigned and handed over power to the Senate Speaker, who became the interim head of state. An undignified exit for the man who played crucial roles in Algeria's modern history. Bouteflika is considered a national hero by his supporters. He fought on the battlefield during Algeria's War of Independence from France, then served as foreign minister until 1979. In the early 1980s, he was accused of corruption and went into self-imposed exile. The charges were later dropped. And at the end of the civil war in the late 1990s that claimed the lives of thousands, Bouteflika won an election with the backing of the military. The opposition said the vote was rigged. Bouteflika won praise for restoring stability that led to an economic boom and major development projects nationwide. He also managed to hold the country together during the Arab Spring. There were protests in January 2011 against poverty and unemployment. The government responded by creating thousands of small business opportunities with generous incentives to young entrepreneurs, reducing food prices and ending a decades-old state of emergency. Despite the initiatives, riots continued. After winning a second mandate in 2004, Bouteflika changed the constitution to run for a third term. And despite deteriorating health, he changed the constitution once again to secure a fourth term. Western leaders considered him an important ally in the fight against armed groups in North Africa. Bouteflika had zero tolerance towards Al-Qaeda and others. His heavy-handedness linked to that approach is blamed for costing civilian lives. In 2013, 30 foreign workers were killed when Bouteflika ordered the army to storm a gas plant in the Algerian desert. The aim was to rescue hundreds of hostages held by an armed group affiliated to Al-Qaeda. Critics said the president could have saved lives had he negotiated a safe exit for the hostages or planned the counterattack more carefully. Bouteflika's grip on power started to slip when he announced his bid to run for a fifth term in February 2019. Hundreds of thousands of Algerians poured into the streets in the biggest demonstrations seen since the independence in 1962. For 5 weeks, the protesters demanded the president and his allies resign. Bouteflika first tried to placate protesters by reversing his decision to stand again and postponing the election, saying he'd stay on until a new constitution was adopted. But it wasn't enough to stop the revolt. The protests continued. ABDELAZIZ Bouteflika's fate was sealed when the army chief stepped in, forcing Algeria's longest-serving president from power.
Leaders from the West African bloc, ECOWAS, met in Accra on Thursday to discuss the political crisis in Guinea. Chairman of the group and President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, described the crisis as a burning issue in the region. The 15-member regional group already suspended Guinea.
The delegation went to Guinea on Friday, the 10th of September, met the military leaders, and saw President Alpha Condé in his place of detention. They have made a report to us, which will be the basis of our deliberations at this emergency summit on Guinea.
The group has said it will impose penalties on the junta in Guinea unless it immediately releases deposed President Alpha Condé. Condé has been held at an undisclosed location since being detained during the September 5 coup in Conakry. Guinea's coup leaders have set a number of conditions for releasing the deposed president.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, Chess Federation of Zambia Vice President Leslie Chikose says Zambia is positioned to produce more chess grandmasters following the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Russian Center for Science and Culture. Speaking after the signing ceremony, Mr. Chikose explains that Russia is known to be the powerhouse of chess in the world, as it has produced great chess players and is able to help the country produce similar players. The MOU will last for 4 years and is set to see selected Zambian chess players being mentored by Russian experts.
Some of the key things that we'll be looking at is student mentorship, training of arbiters, coaching of students, and also having access to events through the Russian Center. Also, that one thing that has delighted the Chess Federation of Zambia, especially the chess players themselves, is the tournament that has been committed through this memorandum, that through this collaboration, the Russian Center will be able, together with the Chess Federation of Zambia, to have one Grandmaster tournament every year. Because at the moment we only have one Grandmaster in the name of Amon Simtowe. So this will give us an opportunity to increase the number of Grandmaster. This memorandum of understanding is for 4 years, and we hope that after 4 years we will even review it to make it even better than what we have written now.
That story on chess brings us to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at top stories once again. Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company employees to down tools. Stakeholders demand accountability for the over 66 million kwacha found at a private residence in Lusaka. President HICHILEMA to deliver his maiden address to the UN General Assembly on the 21st of September. In international news, Algeria's ABDELAZIZ Bouteflika dies at age 84. And in sports news, the Chess Federation of Zambia signs an MOU with Russian Center for Science and Culture. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from John 15, verse 4, and it reads, "Remain in me, and I in you. Just as a branch is unable to produce fruit by itself unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me." Thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Goodbye.